Finally, Vic Fangio has signed with the Dolphins to be the next defensive coordinator. It took long enough. He had his press conference, his introductory press conference, just a couple days ago. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But I'm really excited about this, man. All the problems that we had last season were on the defensive side of the ball. I know that that's where most of our injuries were. But it wasn't even the personnel at a lot of points in the games. It was the coaching, and obviously that all started with Josh Boyer. That's why he was out the door after this one season. There was really no reason to fire him. We did learn that Mike McDaniel wanted to bring in Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator last year, but it makes sense that they wanted to give Josh Boyer a year because just 2 years ago when we had Flores, we had a top 10 defense. So obviously we kept Boyer, and the defense was a disaster this year. He went out the door, brought in Fangio. And now I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the team, especially with guys on the edge. I'm hoping Christian Wilkins is extended this year, but who I'm talking about is Bradley Chubb, who he drafted when he was in Denver, and then Jalen Phillips, who really broke out this year. But yeah, now with the press conference, what we got from Travis Wingfield, who did an interview with him. In 2021, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan were all asked what the toughest defense in the NFL was to play against, and they all answered Vic Fangio's defense. And that's saying something. Those are three of the brightest, youngest head coaches in the NFL. I think Mike McDaniel's, in that group. They all came from the Shanahan coaching tree. And in 2019, which was the year where I think it was the year after the Rams made the Super Bowl, they put up around 35 points every single game that season. And then when they played the Bears, who did have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator at the time, the Rams put up 6 points and they ended up losing that game. I think the final score was like 15-9 or something, 15-6. And some more stats, because you know that we love that on the channel here. The last 8 years that Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator, which was between the 49ers and the Bears, he finished 6 times with the top 10 defense and 4 times with the top 5 offense. So 4 out of the 8 years that he was a defensive coordinator, he had a top 5 defense. And with the player personnel on this team, I think the sky is the limit. He drafted Bradley Chubb in Denver, and with the breakout year that Jalen Phillips just had, which was partially because of Bradley Chubb getting a lot of the attention, I think that pass rush duo has so much potential. I'm really excited to see what they can do this next season. But I'm now into like his scheme. I'm not too sure what is going to be going on this year, whether it's going to be like a 3-4 or 4-3. I think I would prefer 3-4, but I think we're most likely to see a 4-3. But two things that he does a lot of the times with his defense, which is kind of the exact opposite of what the Dolphins did last year, was a lot of the time he would have 2 safeties back, and the second thing is that he wouldn't blitz much. And last year the Dolphins would have only 1 safety back because we would be using the other safety to blitz a lot. So it's literally the exact opposite. I know that Brandon Jones was our guy to blitz. I think that's something that Vic Fangio is going to have to use him to get the maximum ability out of everyone. And if you want to do that with Brandon Jones, you got to have him blitz, a decent amount so they can kind of use him as a pass rusher, but also keep a second safety back there with Javon Holland, whether it's Eric Rowe or Verone McKinley, whoever it is. I'm hoping that Brandon Jones can come back better than he was last year. He was such a big loss to this defense, as if we hadn't had enough injuries with Nick Needham and Trill Williams, who didn't even get a play last season in the regular season. But another thing that I'm really looking forward to, which doesn't even start with next season, it just starts with this offseason, is that the Dolphins are going to have to be in the linebacker market. I think Jerome Baker's like the only linebacker under contract for next season, and he was the guy where just a couple weeks ago in a video I talked about that he's a prime candidate to be cut just for salary cap reasons and for the money. And if that's the case, then I don't even know if we have like a single linebacker under the market or under the roster for next season. So 2 guys I'm going to point out that are in division: Tremaine Edmonds and Jordan Poyer. I know Jordan Poyer isn't a linebacker, but Tremaine Edmonds is definitely an option. He is a free agent this offseason. Both of those guys are. Tremaine Edmonds, I don't think that the Bills are going to be able to keep both of them because I think both of them are going to want a lot of money, and the Bills are already giving up a lot of money. Obviously, a lot of it going to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and stuff, and Von Miller too. but Tremaine Edmonds is definitely an option. And the Bills just extended Matt Milano this past offseason, so I don't think that they'd obviously they wouldn't love to lose him, but I don't think you're feeling too guilty if he does sign with another team for a lot of money. That's definitely something that I'm going to keep my eye on. I think that the Dolphins are 100% going to sign a linebacker. Not saying it's going to be Tremaine Edmonds. It might not be a superstar either. It's probably not going to be because that's, knowing the Dolphins. But on the other side, Jordan Poyer would be a great guy to bring back with Javon Holland there. That's like the next no-fly zone. And then we trade for Jalen Ramsey too. No, that's for a whole other video if we want to talk about the cornerback group. We'll have to see what happens with that, though, because Xavier Howard is coming off of a really bad year. He played better in the second half than he did in the first half, but he didn't even play that good in the second half. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know who the number one cornerback next season is going to be. Maybe it's Xavier Howard. Maybe it's Kader Kohu. Maybe it's Nick Needham. Maybe it's Jalen Ramsey. Like, who knows at this point? But what I'm going at here is that Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland would be an unbelievable safety duo. And considering what I said before, where his defense consists of two safeties back there almost at all times, it's definitely an option. And with Jordan Poyer, I'm throwing him out there especially because of this. His podcast, if you haven't seen it already, I guess it's to his birthday's coming up. I don't really know when his birthday is, but to his birthday's coming up, and Jordan Poyer was invited down to Miami for his birthday party, and he was asked obviously about the possibility of potentially, what if you were to sign with the Dolphins, whatever. He's like, well, that'd be pretty crazy, like staying in the division, but, going down to Miami. And I'm excited to go to his birthday party this weekend. I'm sure Mike McDaniel is going to be there, so I'm going to have to put in my best impression. Maybe that's something saying that, he wants to come here, but he has to see if McDaniel wants him to come. It's just all speculation. But I think that one of those two guys are definitely a guy that the Dolphins are going to look into. I think both of those players are definitely going to have some interest from the Dolphins. But linebacker market is definitely something that we're going to keep in mind all offseason. Either way, that'll wrap up. Vic Fangio has the potential to turn the Dolphins team not completely around, but just upgrade us to the next level. The offense, like I said before, was top 10, and the defense 100% is top 10 potential. So we'll see what happens. I'm really excited. More Dolphins videos to come. The offseason is about to get started, and I'm looking forward to it. Either way, that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.